From the Georgia WeatherNet Storm Center, live severe weather coverage starts right now.
All right, we are back. We took a huge power hit here at the studio, and we have 3 battery backups to keep everything going, even if the power is out, and it's supposed to keep us going for about 3 hours, and all 3 just completely stopped working. So I think that was a big lightning hit and a big power surge that just knocked everything out. So all 3 battery backups all called it in and said, absolutely not, we're not dealing with this, and quite honestly, I don't blame them. So anyway, we're back now. Hopefully that's going to be the worst of the power hits, and we'll take that one, and maybe everything will be a little smoother sailing now for us here at the Georgia WeatherNet studio. But again, thank you for bearing with us, and let me get everybody connected here. And we are on YouTube. And just waiting to get everything reconnected. We'll get started again. All right, I think we are back on Facebook now as well. So welcome back to our live severe weather coverage here on the Georgia WeatherNet. Again, if you're just joining us, we took a big power hit here at the studio. We have 3 battery backups, and all 3 just said no thank you, and the air conditioning has not come back as well. So it's going to get pretty toasty in here, and but we're back, and we'll continue to bring the coverage to you. So we do have a couple of new severe thunderstorm warnings that have come out during our little break there, and we'll get to that. And the first one here in northeast Georgia. This is going to be for eastern Franklin County, Elbert County, Hart County, and then we have portions of Anderson and Abbeville County, South Carolina in this one. This goes until 8 o'clock. Severe thunderstorms from Carnesville to Lexington, moving east at 45 miles per hour. We have the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this storm, as well as some small hail. So expect damage to trees and power lines, as we've been dealing with all afternoon and evening long. This does include Elberton and Hartwell in this severe thunderstorm warning polygon, as well as a portion of eastern Franklin County is in there. So Royston up to Cannon and Livonia. That line is moving in to the Royston area right now, moving into Livonia, so that's going to continue to push across the Franklin Hart County line, moving in toward Hartwell, and then down toward the south we see a very heavy rain and the strong winds coming into Comer, so that's pushing into the western part of Elbert County. We have an additional severe thunderstorm warning. We mentioned the one over Washington Wilkes County, and now the Weather Service office out of Columbia, South Carolina. We deal with Columbia when we start getting over here into Lincoln County. And so we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Lincoln County until 8 o'clock. Possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this storm. And so that's going to cover all of Lincoln County and then cross over the county line into, or the state line rather, into South Carolina, moving into McCormick County. And we pick up another one. Yeah, we picked up another one going down more into middle Georgia now. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Hancock County, Glasscock County, northeastern Washington County, and northwestern Jefferson County. This goes until 7:45. This is part of that lone cell, the first cell that we had that was not attached to the main squall line that prompted a severe thunderstorm warning. So that continues to push through Hancock County. So this does include Gibson, Stapleton, Mitchell, Edge Hill, Hamburg State Park, Shoals, Downs, Worthern, Grange, Stapleton Crossroads, and Agricola. So this is for portions of Hancock, Glasscock, Washington, and Jefferson County severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45. So we're getting these coming out fairly rapidly here. Let's see if we can go back to the high-res radar. Had a little bit of an issue pulling down that data. We'll try. Yeah, I'm going to have to go to level 3. Let me try one more time. Yep, something is cutting off our data feed from our primary radar. So we'll go to the Plan B radar. Still pretty good view of what's going on here, and we can spot what's going on with these storms. Also, just take a look at our velocity, make sure we don't have any rotation that has popped up on us, and yeah, don't see anything. Let's switch over to back to Atlanta radar, and we'll look at it. Yeah, just strong winds. Really no issue with rotation on these storms. Nothing significant anyway. All these storms are going to have a little bit of circulation involved in it, but the atmosphere just is not feeding the potential of these storms to really have a big tornado risk. So that's good news. So once we get up into extreme North Georgia, up in the Rabun County, above Stevens County, we're just looking at that rain. The heaviest of the rain has now moved into the upstate of South Carolina, so not as big of a deal now. Up from Habersham County north, as I mentioned, to Rabun and Towns County, things are pretty quiet, but we do have a cluster of these severe thunderstorm warnings that remain now, starting to push into the eastern part of the state. So if you're just joining us, we'll just kind of run through all of the areas here with the severe thunderstorm warnings. I think this one up in Toccoa, Stevens County has been canceled, and it has. So the severe thunderstorm warning for southern Habersham doesn't mention Stevens, but I believe that one's off the board. But again, you can just tell by the radar here that the bulk of that is out of Toccoa now. So there it goes. Now it's finally gone. So we're just looking at rain. Nothing severe anymore in Stevens or Habersham County. Northern Banks County, we just have this little piece of southeast Banks County still under a severe thunderstorm warning. But what we're really watching here, this line that is pushing in toward Hartwell around Gumlog. We're stretching down into western Elbert County, over Comer, out toward Carlton, and we see some strong reflectivity coming in over Oglethorpe County, mainly northern Oglethorpe County, Sandy Cross area. This is staying pretty much north of Highway 78. So this is going to continue moving across Oglethorpe, eventually moving into Wilkes County. So yep, we have some more strong to severe thunderstorms moving into Wilkes, but it does look like the bulk and the worst of this, which is just northeast of Crawford, again staying above 78, is going to be traveling into northern Wilkes, will be impacting Tignal and may just graze Washington. That's that second part of the line there. A little update on our severe thunderstorm warning down in Jasper and Putnam, Baldwin, Jones County, and pushing into Hancock County, well, in Greene County. We see the western part of this has been dropped off. So Shadydale, where the rodeo is going on, that has been dropped off. So hopefully that wasn't really bad as it moved through. Pretty good rain there, just to add to the rain that was already fell a couple of hours ago. But that severe threat has passed. And we may see another warning come out here looking in northern Jefferson County. That's a pretty good cell here that's popped up. Over Rennes, over the high school, down toward Louisville, but not quite there. And then stretching off to the east in northwest Burke County. Not severe, but pretty close. We'll watch and see if we get a warning out of that. And I'm getting notices that multiple counties are being canceled from the severe thunderstorm watch. So let's see what we can find on that. Yeah, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? How about that? So now Metro Atlanta, you're in the clear. Starting to head out toward Rockdale County, you're still in there. Columbus, you're still in. This is until 9 o'clock. Athens still in, even though the bulk of that thunderstorm has passed overhead of Athens, and as I mentioned, moved out of Toccoa as well. So even though Toccoa is still in there, and then stretching down into Hall County, the bulk of that has pushed out. But officially, the severe thunderstorm watch that's set to go until 9 o'clock. We have now cleared more of the metro Atlanta counties, a little bit more of North Georgia in there as well. So that is some good news. All right, another severe thunderstorm warning about to come out. Let's see where that is. Would love to get the level 2 radar. It's just not coming down for some reason. Well, that's all right. We'll deal with what we deal with here. And yep, there's that storm we were talking about moving out of Jefferson County into Burke County. So no surprise here. That was looking a little ugly. So we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for northwestern Burke County, southeastern Richmond County, and southwestern Aiken County until 8 p.m. It's a severe thunderstorm over Gulf, about 13 miles northwest of Waynesboro. Moving east, creeping along at 25 miles per hour. Looks a little faster than that when we put it in motion, but that's the radar estimate at about 25 miles per hour, so that could cause a little bit of a flooding issue as well. So this is going to cover Waynesboro, Jackson, Gulf, Keysville, Bennick Mill, Shell Bluff, Elwood, you're in the severe thunderstorm warning polygon. So 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible. And also picking up a hail core just south of Zabina. So that's not in the warning. It's actually splitting right between. There's Rennes, Zabina's in here, and this is where we're picking up the possibility of some hail. So splitting the difference between our two warning polygons there. So just look out for the possibility of some hail. All right, just had to take a little sip of water there. I should have taken a little break when we had our power outage. Oh, there's an additional warning, so that's going to be because of that. Maybe it's because we called it out. So there's a warning going to bridge the gap, and that is going to cover Rennes and Zabina. And is it going to take us just north of Louisville? So here you go. So new severe thunderstorm warning. I'll zoom in really close on this so you can see what we're looking at. And once again, just filling in the gap there. This is for northeastern Jefferson County until 8 p.m. So Rennes, Matthews, Stellawood, Zabina, right over Jefferson County High School, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning until 8, and then that storm continues to push in toward Burke County. And there's another sweep of radar showing that strong reflectivity. And that is just slightly to the north. The high school is about right here. So just north of Jefferson County High School, we have that strong reflectivity coming in. So a possibility of some hail, estimated about 3/4 of an inch in diameter possible there. So yeah, that's pretty decent hail course. Be watching out for that in northwest Burke County. Another severe thunderstorm warning now coming in for Oconee County and Pickens County, South Carolina. We won't deal with that very much. That's South Carolina. That means the storm has crossed over the Savannah River and no troubles for Georgia anymore. Heavy rain coming down in Hartwell and heading out toward the dam. We're now picking up very strong wind. The rain's going to start picking up there as well. Lake Hartwell Dam and then moving over Lake Hartwell. Elberton picking up that wind. And so that's going to continue to push into eastern Elbert County. Western Elbert County, still a little breezy, still some rain going on, but nothing really severe going on. We have strong reflectivity here in northeast Oglethorpe County, above Lexington. As I mentioned, that's going to be moving into northern Wilkes. So this is going to continue to cut across, head over toward Tignall, should stay just north of Washington. Got a little bit of a tail here that's going to be moving into Wilkes County and probably moving over Washington. So you're not done yet. Things are going to get quiet for just a few minutes over downtown Washington, over the square. It'll get quiet here in this little area, and then we'll see some more heavy rain move in on the backside. That doesn't look severe coming out of Greene County, crossing into northern Tolliver right now, but that is still some pretty heavy rain that's going to push through. But the worst of the weather for Washington is just off to the east. I think we're heading out 378 here, heading toward the Lincoln County line. This is going to be the worst of it. Still some bright reflectivity coming southwest of town, moving in toward Whitehall. But I think the worst for Washington is now moving into eastern Wilkes County. But still under that warning there. And I'll tell you what, this reflectivity here coming in over central Jefferson County, that's the strongest that we have on the board right now. So that's sitting right on top of Highway 221. As I mentioned, just north of the high school. It kind of sits out there by itself between Louisville and Rennes. And that's where we're looking at the possibility of hail. Could be ½ inch in diameter, falling very close there to US 1 221 there in Jefferson County. And we'll just look off to the west and kind of what's left of this line draping down from the southern end. We have a cell here by itself. This one has been hanging on. Just moved through Auburn, Alabama, now beginning to move over toward the Columbus area. And that could be probably going to have a bigger impact north of Columbus up toward Troup County. But nothing severe on that one. and then a cell. Let's see if we can look at a little better view of this one. Ooh, look at that, got a little outflow boundary on this one. So in Abbeville, Alabama. So we have a strong cell here. If you take a look at this little thin light green line, that's called an outflow boundary. So what that is, the air gets cooled rapidly by this rain. It's very hot and humid south of this, low 90s still at this hour, and that cool air pushes down and creates its own little boundary. It's basically a little tiny cold front. Some people call that a gust front. So when you get that blast of cool air, it's not raining or anything, but you get that blast of cool air coming in, that's that gust front. And that's what's going on right now. Again, heading south of Abbeville, heading toward Dothan, Alabama. May see a little bit of that gust front start to move over in toward Early County, western Early County toward Blakely. But if we put that in motion, you'll be able to see that gust front rushing away from the storm. And if you're ever out at trivia or something and they ask you, the weather guy, KJ Allen on the Georgia Weather Net, what's his favorite weather feature? It's a gust front all day long. These are just so fascinating. I'm not big on hurricanes and all that kind of stuff, but give me a little localized gust front and yeah, I'll talk about it all day. But we have other things to talk about, so we'll move on here. So severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for portions of Putnam County. We have northern, there's Putnam County, we have northern Jones County, southeast Jasper County, Shadydale, you're in the clear for a while, maybe a few more light showers moving your way, but nothing severe. Extreme northwest Baldwin County up to 12. Milledgeville's got a little cell right on top of Milledgeville and down towards Central State, but nothing severe. Still some decent thunderstorm activity in eastern Putnam County, stretching up into southern Greene County. Greensboro, VZ, up in toward Siloam, Union Point, you're out of the warning polygon now, so that's good. But that's still that southern portion of Greene County, still under a severe thunderstorm warning for now, but most of that threat has passed. And let's see what else we have going on. Another severe thunderstorm warning. We'll have to see who that's for. Still getting everything pulled back up from our power outage. If you missed that, we were offline for a little bit. We have lots and lots of battery backups here at the studio, and basically 3 that our system goes through, and all 3 we had a blink. It must have been a really strong surge, a close lightning hit here at the studio, because all 3 errored out with the same error at the same time, and that's what caused our outage. So it's not surprising for one of them to quit working, but all 3 at the same time is really something. Got a report coming in from Athens, Clarke County. Tree down on a vehicle in the Pinewood Mobile Home Park. Report was there was somebody in the vehicle at the time, but no reports on any injuries on that. And Bloomfield Hall, Old Jefferson Road, and Lim Edwards Road impassable due to trees down. And neighboring Athens, Clarke County, Jackson County, reporting lots of trees down, including a tree down on a house on White Street in Houston. No injuries on that, thankfully. Lots of trees down in Walton County. Highway 78 completely shut down in both directions at Highway 138 due to all the trees down. So Highway 78, that is a busy, busy road. And we have that completely shut down at Highway 138. And a tree down on a house going back in the northwest Georgia, Whitfield County. So there you go. So just kind of looking at the estimates of where we've been seeing a lot of the tree damage and trees down, power lines. Northwest, just inside northwest Georgia, we had some really, really strong winds coming into Dade and Walker County, and numerous reports, but it seemed like a lot of reports really started gathering around Pickens and Gilmer County, Cherokee County, a lot of reports that came in. Not seeing a whole lot coming out of Hall County or White County, And then a lot of reports now coming in. Athens, Clarke County, Jackson County, down into Morgan County, Walton County. We're seeing a lot of these wind reports coming in this area as well. So just you can sort of get that idea that that big mass of wind, and you can still see what's left with that bowing section of the storm. It just really came into this northwest corner and then traveled in this motion. On both sides, we had windy conditions, but the really, really bad wind knocking down, I mean, we now may be in the thousands of trees that may have been knocked over or damaged in some way as a result of this wind. It just traveled basically where my hand is, from northwest Georgia down into the Athens area, and then if that continues, which it is, we'll continue to push on in toward Elbert, Wilkes County, and Lincoln County, and finally we'll push that out into South Carolina. So just really amazing, these tree damage reports are just coming in one after another. And we'll get a lot of pictures to pass along to you as soon as those storm damage reports are coming in. But again, want to mention a couple of roads that are completely closed off. Highway 78 in Walton County at Highway 138. And Old Jefferson Road in Athens, Clarke County. Lim Edwards Road, that's not hard to get around there. You can take Highway 72 to get around that without a problem. But, and then as I mentioned, a tree down on a vehicle in Pinewood Mobile Home Park in Athens. And someone was in that vehicle. Hopefully they're okay. We'll pass that report along as soon as I get it. I'm just checking in with our other weather partners here to see if we have any other reports coming in. Nothing there. Check in with Greenville and see what they have to say. Yeah, no damage reports coming in from the Greenville office. So again, they cover several counties here in northeast Georgia. I think it's 4 or 5 counties in extreme northeast Georgia. So we have no reports coming in out of their office on damage reports. It just looks like, once again, just above Rome, and then really started to pick up in Gilmer County, Pickens County, Cherokee County, and then just pushing on down into the Athens general vicinity with those numerous tree reports. The reports coming in all over the place, but that's where the bulk of the reports have been coming in. Let's check out our storm once again over Abbeville, Alabama. We're starting to see the forward flank of this storm pushing in toward Clay County. And the bottom end of this storm, where our possibility of some hail, heavy rain, looks like that may start to push close to Blakely, may stay in the Clay County, maybe an extreme northwest corner of Early County. We'll see. No warning on that one at the moment, but still a lot of these pop-up thunderstorms throughout the state. Get a little better view. Let's take a look at the Jeffersonville radar. And just looking here in southern Tattnall County around Glenville, it's a pretty strong storm, and it's associated with a couple other cells nearby. And then heading over toward I-95, getting down into coastal Georgia. In McIntosh County, just on the other side of I-95, we see a cell here moving in. And we do have to watch these isolated cells, especially this time of the evening, as they get closer to the coast, because you start to get a little bit of influence of that land breeze. We have the sea breeze during the day. We start to get to the evening hours, and that switches over to the land breeze, and that can cause a little bit of additional rotation on some of these storms. So if that land breeze hits the storm just right, it can help it spin a little bit more, and that's why we'll get some really random stray tornado warnings from Savannah all the way down to St. Mary's, just as a result of that interaction with the coastline. And not saying that's going to happen with any of these cells, but it is certainly worth watching any of these discrete cells, especially when it gets on the other side of I-95. Something about I-95. Once it's on this side, you're inland enough, it's pretty predictable, but we get these isolated cells east of 95 and before you get to the coastline. So anywhere in this little stretch right there, that's where we really have to watch for some oddball spin up tornadoes and water spouts and all that fun stuff along the Georgia coastline. So severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for eastern Hart County, the little extreme southeast corner here. Hart, well, you're in the clear right now. And there's your new sweep. Hart County is all good now. Elbert County, mainly east of Elbert County, heading out Calhoun Falls Highway to Calhoun Falls. We're seeing the storm start to move out of Elbert County. And that's a good thing. So looks like pretty good reflectivity. Let's see, just to the east of Fort Sonia, so around Bobby Brown Park area with some heavy rainfall. And then still have our triple warnings here. So we have northern Wilkes, little piece going out toward Madison County, Oglethorpe County, but mainly northern Wilkes, and then central and southern Wilkes County under our severe thunderstorm warning. Then our warning coming out of the Columbia office for Lincoln County, still under a severe thunderstorm warning. But as I mentioned, heavy rain still coming down in Washington, but the worst of the storm has moved out of Wilkes County, now over Lincoln County. It took Highway 378, just like anybody would do, going from Washington to Lincolnton. You jump on 378 and let it ride. Probably one of the biggest football rivalries in the state, Washington, Wilkes, and Lincoln County. Whew. So Washington sending that thunderstorm out that way. Yep, Nicole, yeah, I didn't even read your comment, and I was talking about your neighborhood, so glad I got to cover that. So still, yeah, again, still some pretty good rain there, but things are going to only get better over the next little bit. Next 10, 15 minutes, we'll just continue to ramp those storms down. Checking out our severe thunderstorm warning in Burke County. So this is staying just slightly above Highway 24. I think we are going to get a decent amount of rain and maybe some hail coming out of this part of the storm. Could be just a little bit to the south of the storm, and that could push in toward Waynesboro. So that severe thunderstorm warning, that goes until 8 p.m. Time now is 7:36. So our hail core is just between St. Clair and Gulf and in western Burke County. And should see the bottom end of this. Great little barbecue place right there, by the way. If you've ever been there in northern Burke County, out there in the middle of nowhere there, Rolling Smoke Barbecue. So that's just above Waynesboro, getting up toward the Richmond County line. So they're going to be seeing some heavy rain there at Rolling Smoke, but the predominant part of the storm going to stay south of the Richmond-Burke County line. And again, just moving right, very, very close to Waynesboro. Unfortunately, that hail core, whatever hail is going to drop out of the sky from this core, looks like it will be over Waynesboro. And that's about 10 minutes away. Maybe a little bit longer, 10 to 12 minutes away before we'll see that hail core over Waynesboro. All right, just checking to see if we can get this other radar data in. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is just briefly switch over to our backup radar. Go full screen with that, maybe. Or maybe not. Okay. I think we're still dealing with some of our issues from the lightning hit. Interesting. Well, I don't know why that's not coming up, but let's go back to this radar and we'll just go with this because we're about ready to get these severe storms cleared out of here. So won't be live much longer, maybe take it up for another 20 minutes or so up to about 8 o'clock and just follow these storms on through. these are big wind-producing storms. I've been talking about this all day. This is not really about a tornado issue. We haven't had a single tornado warning here in Georgia. I didn't see one in Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, or Tennessee. But it's all about those straight line winds with these storms. And as they first moved into Georgia, we had the potential of 80-mile-an-hour wind, and one report that we had a little earlier showed an 89-mile-an-hour wind gust, which is just absolutely incredible. And that was up in northwest Georgia. Just going back through my notes here. There's so many damage reports to go through. I'm trying to find where that report was, but that was up in the mountains in northwest Georgia. This is kind of interesting too, coming out of Cherokee County. Actually, this was coming out of Trenton, that the temperature dropped from 81 degrees to 63 degrees in 15 minutes. So that's a sign of just how powerful that line was. All right, let's see what else we have here. And it was warm all across the state of Georgia today, for sure. And temperatures, see if we can pull up those current temperatures around the state. I'm sure we still have some temperatures close to 90 or maybe still in the low 90s. Yep, still have some of those low 90s showing up in parts of South Georgia, so still very warm, humid. Mentioned those temperatures drop from the 80s and near 90s down into the 60s very quickly in northwest Georgia. 72 now in Athens as the rain has passed through, 73 at the Atlanta airport. Hopefully they have the airplanes moving again there. Potential of 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gust over the Hartsville-Jackson International Airport. 84 in Brunswick, very humid. They had heat index today of 103, so very, very humid along the Georgia coastline. Factor in the heat and the humidity together and easily break into the 100s. And welcome to summertime in South Georgia. All right, let's get back to our radar. I think we had another warning. Is this our new one? Let's see. Yeah, this one just came out. So this one is mainly for South Carolina. So this one that juts way out here, out towards Saluda, South Carolina, but does cover a piece of northern Lincoln County. So that goes until 8:30. So we'll mention it as a result of this line that's still pushing through Lincoln County. So northern Lincoln County until 8:30. Then the rest of this is for portions of Edgefield, Saluda, and McCormick County in South Carolina. And let me switch over to this radar, a little better view. So things are really starting to get quiet in Franklin and Hart County, Madison County. Athens is very quiet, maybe a little bit more rain out by the former site of the mall. It's partially a pile of rubble right now, but you know where I'm talking about. If you're familiar with Athens, we've got a little bit more rain out there heading out toward Bogart. And so that's going to push through, but nothing severe. Oglethorpe County also getting quiet. Washington, Wilkes, western side of Wilkes County is not bad. Still watching those storms push through eastern Wilkes County. I know it's hard to see with all these polygons, but I just want to show you where the warnings are. I'll tell you what, let me just turn those off for a second. So eastern Wilkes and northern Wilkes, just above Tignall here, still got some pretty good reflectivity going on, but things get pretty quiet there. There's our severe thunderstorm warm cell moving into Waynesboro, a little hail threat on that one as well. And maybe a storm cell here in Glasscock County, up above Edge Hill, south of Gibson. And that's moving into northern Jefferson County, so that's trying to hang on and do a little something. But things are pretty quiet with our line here, stretching through Hancock County, right over Milledgeville, Baldwin County now, looking at the significant rain, but nothing severe. And then right through Macon, we have some showers. Nothing severe on that. But you can see what's left of that line is draping across from Lincolnton through Macon and then heading down toward Roberta, but just not a whole lot there in terms of severe, which is good. Jill checking in, lights flickering on Thompson Road, and thunder is really roaring out there. Yeah, Washington Food Market. I tell you what, Washington, Amber checking in when I was talking about the barbecue down in Burke County, and and she says nothing better than the Washington Food Market. And I tell you what, they are the best in the world at is, you already know what I'm going to say, don't you? The Brunswick stew. They have, their barbecue is very, very good too. I mean, they're really good, but I'm telling you, you've never had Brunswick stew like Washington Food Market. And you can say, oh, well, my cousin makes it. I don't care what your cousin does. You need to go out there and check that out sometime if you are ever in the Washington area. Now, they're not open every day, so may want to call ahead. But yeah, that Brunswick stew, it got me hungry now thinking about it. Wanda checking in Elbert County. The power is out in Elbert County. And let me look and see what the numbers are. Let's give you a few numbers in that area. And you'll be excited to know that Georgia has the highest number of power outages percentage-wise of any other state in the union right now. And the number one county, it looks like Madison County and Lumpkin County are both pretty close to having the largest percentage of power outages. But in Elbert County right now, got about 1,400 customers without power. Wilkes County, only 43. How about that? So I know the power's been flickering there. And we had the power flicker at our studio and maybe a surge in there as well that just knocked everything out there briefly. So I apologize that we went away. We made it through a lot of the flickers without a problem, but then there was one that just blasted through, and that was all she wrote. Madison County with about 8,000 customers. That's about almost half the county is without power in Madison County. Banks County, about 3,600 customers out of 10,000, so that's a large, significant portion. Stevens County, about a third of the county without power, about 5,000 customers out. And as I mentioned, Lumpkin County, they've got about half the county out as well, about 7,300 out of 16,000 customers without power. And Dawson's another big one, 8,000 customers without power. So the power outages are mostly north of I-20. We have numerous power outages coming in from Troup County, Carroll County as well. Between Troup, Heard, and Carroll County, it looks like about 5,000 customers out between those three counties. So yeah, this is going to take a while. Currently across the state between Georgia Power and the EMCs, we have about 270,000 customers without power. Out of 5 million tracked, about 270,000. So that's a lot. And as I mentioned, Madison County and Lumpkin County, about half of the customers are without power there. So just be patient. It's going to take a little while to get all this back restored again. So if your power just flickered and it's back on, consider yourself very, very lucky. All right, and let me check in on YouTube. By the way, if it's easier for you to watch our streams on YouTube, I encourage you to find the Georgia WeatherNet on YouTube. We've just started streaming there as well. Facebook's been our old reliable and standby for a long, long time, and I know some folks have a little easier time pulling up YouTube on their television and whatever, and my goodness, do that. You are more than welcome to like both of those pages. It works for me. So when the weather gets nasty here across the state of Georgia, you can find us on Facebook and on YouTube now with the Georgia WeatherNet. Plus, radio stations all across the state, which reminds me I need to go do a radio update. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break. These storms are almost out of here, so I'm going to take a real quick break, just go update our radio partners, and then I'll come back, kind of wrap things up. And so I don't think we're going to get any real exciting breaking news between now and then. So I wouldn't be offended if you broke off and did something else on the internet for a little while. But I will take about a 5 or 10 minute break. Just to go update our radio stations, and then come back here and we'll talk a little bit more weather before we wrap it up for the night.
from the Georgia WeatherNet Storm Center. Live severe weather coverage starts right now.
All right, welcome back, 7:56. If you're still with me, thank you so much. I appreciate you sticking around. Again, we don't have a lot of breaking news to report to you. Most of our bad weather continues to track in the South Carolina, up in the northern part of our area here. So those warnings pushing into Greenville, South Carolina, Anderson, South Carolina. Did get a new warning that has come out since our break there as I was updating our radio partners. This is a large warning, and this is for the Augusta area. This does cover McDuffie County, Columbia County, Lincoln County, Burke County, Richmond County, Edgefield County, South Carolina, as well as portions of Barnwell, Aiken, and McCormick County, South Carolina. This warning goes until 8:45. Thunderstorms located from Lincolnton to Louisville, moving east at 40 miles per hour. We have the potential of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust with these storms and the possibility of some hail as well. We are looking at maybe hail located in northern Jefferson County. Looks like just below Rennes, or just to the east of Rennes, rather, and south of Keysville. Possibility of half-inch size hail. I'm going to show you this on radar. This is what we're looking at. So starting to cross out of Rennes, moving into Burke County, we have the possibility of that hail. And again, straight line winds, that's going to be our main focus on all these storms as they continue tracking through. So also that warning extends into Burke County. Been talking about that one. The portion of the storm for northwestern Burke County has actually been allowed to expire, but we have the additional warning that popped up on top of that, so that's going to cover all of Burke County, including Waynesboro and Sardis. And again, that's going to go until 8:45. The storm is mainly going to be out of Georgia by then. A lot of that time, all the way up to 8:45, is going to be covering our portion of the storm moving in to South Carolina. So just checking out other storms on the radar. We've been watching storms moving into western Washington County. Nothing severe here, but this one around Deep Step showing a little bit of an outflow boundary on that. So we're going to have a gust of cool air blowing into the Oconee community and then into Irwinton. So in Wilkinson County, got that little gust front there. Just another sign that this air is really rain cooled very rapidly and then moving into much warmer air to the south. A little shower that moved through downtown Macon has now pushed through town, down over the airport area now, and then up along the Jones County line, Jones-Twiggs County line. Not much going on beyond that. Then we connect our dot out here. We have our storm that we've been watching moving in from Alabama, now starting to track into northwest Muskogee County. That's going to be very close to Columbus, so we'll be seeing that rain come down, but nothing severe in terms of that storm. That one had the potential of some hail when it was a little bit further out to the west in Alabama, but it doesn't look like that's a big hail producer at the moment, but just a pretty good little downpour is going to come from that. And some decent reflectivity on our storm that's down in southeast Georgia, moving over toward Hinesville. And we see that they're moving into Liberty County over Long County, so the rain picking up in Ludowici. And then up the highway a little bit here, we are picking up the potential of some hail there over Highway 23 and some very heavy rain with that. But again, nothing severe. And the storm structure on this is not all that impressive as well, so should be okay. We'll just be looking at some very heavy rain involved with that. But as far as the severe potential, could go severe, but we'll just continue to keep an eye on that. Again, for Long, Liberty County there in southeast Georgia. And we had some cells that were trying to get something together. This one that moved into western McIntosh County now has crossed that critical point over I-95 where it can interact with that land breeze at this hour. Got kind of that land breeze going on. We have to watch for any spin, but that's not happening. As a matter of fact, that's weakening. So very light rain over Darien, then stretching down into Glenn County toward Brunswick, and over the Brunswick Airport, we're looking at some showers there. The Brunswick Jetport, let me say that correctly. So we're just going to follow this storm. We've got a few more scans, and this is really watching these two cells, one over Waynesboro, and then our cell starting to move into northern Richmond County. We're right on the Columbia-Richmond County line. That's going to be moving into Augusta proper here over the next couple of minutes, if we can time that out a little bit better. Should be over Augusta at I don't believe that. I think it's going to be, well, maybe. It says 8:40. I think it may be a little bit quicker than that, but we'll see. But just know between now and 8:40, we're going to get the bulk of this line right over the top of Augusta. That could be right. I think it's moving a little bit quicker than that. So we'll watch it for just a little bit longer. And just checking in. If we have any other info coming in, I've got a picture here coming in of a tree down on a house in Forsyth County. This is Pilgrim Mill Road. See if we can, nope, not going to be able to pull it up. All right, not sure why that is. Let me try doing a couple things here. If you joined us a little bit earlier, we had a big power surge here at the studio, and it has caused quite a bit of issues, and yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get that picture up. But anyway, we do have a tree down on a house. Doesn't look like significant damage. That's good. But just we're probably going to be in the hundreds, if not thousands, of trees that are going to be down across the state of Georgia, mainly in extreme northwest Georgia, and then stretching in toward the Athens area and down toward the Oglethorpe, Wilkes County area, and in Lincoln County. That's where we had some really, really strong winds that came through. So the remainder of the watch is going to be allowed to expire. So that's good news. Let's pop it up on the screen. It still should be there for now. They're just giving us a heads up that it's going to go away. And this is what's left of it. So still stretching from Columbus to Macon to Athens, and then up the I-85 corridor here. We have a portion of a severe thunderstorm watch that was issued a little earlier that covers Augusta. That goes until midnight, but our portion here for out of the Atlanta office here in the bulk of Georgia, this is all going to go away. They're going to cancel the entire thing, so that's good news. But still monitoring our severe thunderstorms moving through the Augusta area right now. And let me just take another close look at that. Still have a warning here over Lincoln County, but not a whole lot going on in Lincolnton. South of Lincolnton, heading toward McDuffie County, Columbia County, that's where we're looking at a decent cell. And as I mentioned, some stronger cells here also moving into western Richmond County. And then really 3 cells that we're watching. One right over the middle of Burke County over Waynesboro. Another couple of cells moving into western Burke County, heading toward the Gulf community. So we're seeing still some strong thunderstorm activity there to deal with. But for the rest of the state of Georgia, everything is really starting to get quiet. Our thunderstorm from Oconee, which is roughly right here in western Washington County, stretching up to Sandersville, we have this cell and our little outflow boundary here. So this is going to continue to rush down to the south and bring a pretty chilly blast of air into a northern Johnson County, down in the Lawrence County. That will probably travel a pretty good distance, that little gust front there, a little outflow boundary. But nothing severe. On occasion, sometimes these little outflows, this little thin green line, these can produce thunderstorms themselves. But in the case we're looking at this evening, probably not going to be the case. It's going to really bring a big blast of, like I said, much cooler air there in southern Washington County, northern Johnson County. So we do have, from the National Weather Service, they're talking about the storms that we may see overnight tonight, because we do have another round. Let's see if we can take a look at the national radar again and see what it looks like right now. There's a tornado warning up in Missouri. Yeah, don't really see it forming yet, but we do have another little line of thunderstorms that will kind of move in that same general direction, move in from Alabama into Georgia. But here's what the Weather Service is saying about that. The confidence is still very low on exactly when those storms are going to arrive, where they're going to be. They are not expecting a severe weather threat overnight tonight. So the atmosphere has just really taken a beating from these storms that move through. So that's pulled a lot of energy out. We're now approaching sunset, so we're not going to have the solar heating that we're going to deal with overnight tonight. So we should have a relatively calm atmosphere through the overnight hours. Even though we're going to see a line try to move our way, we'll see a few showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder here and there. But right now the Weather Service is saying they really don't think the severe weather threat is really anything to be concerned with overnight tonight. Just taking a look at the Storm Prediction Center and their outlook area. This is the today outlook that takes us until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. This has not been updated yet for the storms that already moved through, so that's why we're still showing that level 3. But we're looking at that level 2, which is basically what we're watching right now with these storms going through Augusta. Now, after 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, this is what our day 2 outlook looks like. Look at that, nice and quiet. Dade County, just in the general thunderstorm risk, level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk over Atlanta, right to Columbus, and you go south of Columbus to Albany, Macon, coastal Georgia, Augusta. We do have that level 2 out of 5 severe weather risk. But this is for tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon mainly, into the evening hours as things start to heat up a little bit again tomorrow. But overnight tonight, you should rest easy. We'll see a few bands of showers move through, but the severe weather risk is relatively low. So that's good news. Good to hear. All right, let's just check in with our storms one more time. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. We talked about this storm as it was moving over Long in Liberty County, so the Weather Service is going to go ahead and put a warning on this one. Not a surprise, because that was starting to look a little uglier and uglier per scan. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Bryan County, Liberty County, Long County, Western McIntosh County until 8:45. The storm is moving to the east at 25 miles per hour. So we have the potential of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and small hail with this storm. So this does cover Ludowici, Hinesville, Fort Stewart, Jones, McIntosh, Watauraville, Midway, Riceboro, and Flemington. And just touching I-95 between mile markers 62 and 68. So just barely grazing I-95. And as I mentioned, we'll watch this storm as it moves toward I-95 and what kind of interaction it has as it heads toward the coastline. This is a big giant cell here, so I don't see this one necessarily interacting with the land breeze all that much and causing a whole. As a matter of fact, this time of day we really don't have much of a sea breeze or a land breeze. We're kind of in that little middle switchover mode right now, so I doubt we're going to see a cell this large get any sort of interaction with the coastline and cause any spin, but we'll watch it nonetheless. Still a pretty big storm here. And as I mentioned, there is the potential of some hail with that storm. Let me just check our other radar and see. I don't really see a hail core of concern. Let me get another view of it here from Charleston radar. Okay, well, Charleston says that may be a different case. Maybe 2 hail cores with this. One above Gum Branch, and the other just to the northwest of Ludowici. So we could see a couple of little spots here in the storm that could be producing some small hail. And not a big surprise there. And let's see, any other updates coming in? We did mention in Gilmer County Highway 282 being blocked off due to trees down. That has been cleared now, so that's good news. And checking in with power outages across the state, that number now sits at 257,000 customers without power. And our number 1 counties, well, they're all pretty close. Madison County, Stevens County, Lumpkin County, all with very significant numbers as far as power outages are concerned. Dawson County's got big numbers as well, about 7,800 out of 21,000 customers without power. Hart County, close to 4,000 out of 10,000, so about 40% of the county without power. Elbert County's got 1,500 customers out of 8,000 out. Wilkes County, 265. I think that's the number we were at before. And not sure if everybody gets tracked in Wilkes County. The city of Washington has their own power company there, and I don't think they report. So if we have power outages in Washington, that may not show up on the board. They kind of march to their own drum there in Washington, Wilkes. But as far as the service that comes in from Rail EMC and from Georgia Power, those two combined are reporting 265 outages. Athens-Clarke County, 10,000 out of 65,000 without power in Athens, and Oconee County, 2,800 customers without power. But again, statewide, out of roughly 5 million customers, about 257,000 customers are without power as of this hour. So that's going to take a while to clean up and take care of, no doubt about it, with all these trees that are down and power lines and power poles that we had a report of several power poles that have been snapped. It's going to take a lot of effort to get that cleaned up. All right, so let's just check in with our storms in the Augusta area once again. And yeah, this still looks pretty rough on radar, but I'm just looking at some of our other resources, and this is starting to lose quite a bit of oomph as it's moving through Columbia County, moving closer to Augusta. And yeah, that rain's going to start picking up in the next few minutes. The bulk of this will be over Augusta by about 8:30 or so, maybe a little bit thereafter. And then our storms in Waynesboro. The roughest part of this is going to be just above Sardis. So this is going to be our strongest reflectivity, again on the front side of this cell, so no surprise there. And that's about ready to push out of eastern Burke County, head over toward Barnwell County, South Carolina. There's our outflow boundary again. It's a little hard to see there, but this is what we're watching, that little gust front outflow boundary. That's now pushing into northern Johnson County, so a little blast of cool air going to be moving into Johnson County, northern Lawrence County here. And yeah, still showing the potential of half-inch size hail, now moving in closer to Hinesville here in southeast Georgia. So our severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for portions of Long County and Liberty County and the extreme north portion here of McIntosh County. This doesn't include Darien, but extreme north McIntosh County, and really that part where I-16, the only part of I-16 that's in the warning is in the McIntosh County portion. So we'll watch this big cell. Kind of looks like 3 cells all clumped together here, making this one small little MCS coming together. Nothing else severe to worry about beyond that. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Going to go ahead and end the broadcast right now. These storms, they're still considered severe in the Augusta area, but they are starting to lose a lot of their steam. Our storm here moving through Liberty, Long County, that's still considered severe, but we're not looking at any sort of tornado threat out of that. As we continue to move through the evening, things will just get a little bit quieter and quieter. Overnight tonight, a few scattered showers around, a couple of thunderstorms, but the thought from the Weather Service and everybody else is that the severe weather risk is going to be very, very low overnight tonight, but we'll be revisiting a few strong to severe thunderstorms again tomorrow, mainly in South Georgia and specifically in Southeast Georgia. So we'll be monitoring that throughout the day tomorrow right here on the Georgia Weather Net. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your likes and shares. Appreciate it very much. And of course, we'll continue to keep you up to date right here on the Georgia Weather Net.